What up? How's it going? My name's Trucker Dude Brent. I've been driving trucks for about a year now, a little over a year. I started off at Stevens Transport, and now I'm at Prime Inc. Driving for Prime, doing the same job, just hauling freight across the country. I'm starting a new series. It's going to be a playlist of different videos. My first one is my premiere, where I'm going to answer some of the most asked questions that I get. But that's going to be in a future video. This video here is going to be the difference between Stevens Transport and Prime Inc. So that if you're on the fence about which one to join, because those are two pretty pertinent options you have if you're a new driver and you've never driven a truck before and you want to get your CDL. So I'm going to go through a list of things that I've written down on the differences, and if I missed anything, I'll catch it up on the second part of the video. But there's a pretty substantial amount of information in this booklet that I've been writing down over the past 2 days. And I could probably get into pretty good detail about what each of the differences entail. Now, granted, when I was at Stevens, my last day was about 7 months ago or 8 months ago, I believe. So a lot of stuff has probably changed. And yeah, so we're gonna go over this, and if my information's incorrect, then I'm sure somebody in the comment section will correct me. And if not, then hopefully somebody will know and they'll come into the comments, and I'll heart the comments that have information involved regarding what I'm talking about. So let's see. Now, the differences between Stevens and Prime. Detention pay. For Stevens Transport, as far as when I was working for them, now just take that with every future thing I'm going to talk about. This is when I worked for them. This was about 7 to 8 months ago. You got $150 a day as a contractor. Don't get me lying to you on company. I think it's $100 a day for company. That's if you have to sit over 24 hours, and only after 24 hours that your clock has been off duty or on sleeper berth will you get paid that 24 for that 24 hours. So you get paid $25 an hour as a contractor, and you get paid $20 an hour, I think, as a I think it's 25. I honestly think it's like $20 an hour, and company drivers got like $15 an hour to sit at a dock. Anything after 2 hours, you got $15 or $20 an hour. With Prime, you get 72% of everything. That's detention, that's line haul, that's everything. So every different shipper or receiver you go to has a different rate. And they tell you what detention pays if it is relevant in your description, your extra comment section in the app whenever you accept your load. It'll tell you additional notes. Detention pays this much per 15 minutes. This detention pays this much per hour, and up to this much per 24 hours. You know, like say for instance, Walmart will pay you $60 an hour. Every 15 minutes you get, I think it's like $15. And that's after they take their 28%. So whatever you see for detention, I believe they take their 28% out already, and that's what you're getting paid per hour. So up to $600. So you get all of that, okay? Versus Stevens, which every shipper or receiver still has a set rate for detention. They pocket all that money, and you get $20 or $15 an hour. Call wait times. Stevens Transport has always had hellacious call waiting times. They are, especially on nights and weekends. It was always a hassle. I'm glad that a lot of the times you don't actually have to call anybody for any reason, unless something were to happen or you had a question about something. And if you had somebody's direct line, you might be able to actually get a hold of somebody. But trying to call the main line is what I'm talking about, and that takes forever. It is the longest times I've ever waited. So when I came to Prime, you literally have to call after you get loaded and you try to get dispatched. Before they'll dispatch you, you have to call them, and you'll have to give them a slew of information to ensure you're going to the right location, that you have the right load, that your seals match, you know, your tractor and trailer gauge weights are legal, not over 34,000 pounds, and all that stuff. And then you can then roll. They'll dispatch you, and then you're live. You're able to get fuel and use your card and all that stuff. So you call every single time you leave a shipper. So they have a dedicated line where somebody answers the phone and goes through that with you, and they usually answer within 2 to 5 minutes. So it's always great. Anytime I've ever had to call my fleet manager, if he misses my call at Prime, he would immediately call me back. It wouldn't take more than 5 minutes for him to call me back. And that's even if he's taking care of more than his own fleet, which his fleet, I believe, is somewhere in the 80 to 90 truck range. So that's amazing. That's great. Look, I've only talked about 2 things. I'm already at freaking 6 minutes. Labelless water. Well, they're not sponsoring me, so I'm not trying to talk about that. Driver manager versus fleet manager. I don't even know why I wrote this down. Driver managers at Stevens Transport during grad phase was all right. When I got my fleet manager, or my driver manager, when I went to become a contractor, OTR, he was an ass. He was an ass. I'll just say that. And I don't even remember his name. That's how insignificant this person was to me. Calling him was just completely not something I looked forward to. My fleet manager here at Prime, I rarely talk to him. I rarely have to talk to him. I trust him completely. And I'll explain why in another section of this list. But I love my fleet manager here. We might have butted heads in the beginning, but we've hashed all that out, and now we have a great business relationship. So it's great at Prime. And then when I moved over to the comfort lane at Stevens, my GM at Stevens was absolutely phenomenal. And even when they replaced her with a new guy that she trained, he was awesome too. So they really, when you get somebody that complains as much as I do, they really get you somebody that will make you feel a little more special than you did before. Okay. Equipment. Stevens Transport has trucks that aren't older than 4 years old, I think, 3 or 4 years old. They try to swap them out unless you like really love your truck. I knew a guy that was driving a 2016 only because the shifter was here in the center, right, of his KW. But he had a trick he was able to do on it. He had like 700,000 miles on that truck, and he was able to put it in neutral and put it in drive and drive over the governed speed limit. That's why he kept it for so long. Other than that, though, their trucks are usually 3 to 4 years old at the oldest, and then they'll turn around and try to sell that truck to somebody else once the warranty runs out. Kind of the same thing with Prime. Prime has newer trucks, and now you can always, I think they have some older trucks, but they're not that much older. I think the oldest model truck that I had an option to choose from whenever I went to lease was a 2019. I'm in a 2020 right now. And when I go back to do another lease, I'm going for 2023. Unless I can put an order in for my own truck, then I'll ride this one out until I can switch trucks. Because I'm not about to switch trucks after I put an order in for my truck just to switch again. I'll just stay in the truck I'm already in. So, trailer maintenance as far with Stevens. I talked to a Stevens driver recently. Every single load he's had this last week, he had to get tires replaced on trailers. The maintenance is absolutely unacceptable. They don't incentivize drivers to fix the trailers, and they let the trailers just fall out. You know, here at Prime, I'll tell you, I have never had to have a trailer serviced. I had a bumper that was like on the trailer, a trailer I picked up. It was bent in, and I went to the terminal that day, and I had to leave later that night. So I was going to take a little 10 at the terminal, and they had to take that trailer, and they fixed everything wrong with that trailer, which I don't know what all was wrong with it, but I'm sure it had needed some updates for the reefer, and they had the bumper fixed. Everything was ready to go by the time I needed to leave. Like, the amount of the quickness that has to do with how they fix their trailers and the maintenance on their trailers. I had a 2016 right now, and the tires are newer than the ones on my truck. Like, they take care of their equipment, man. I did not write this one down, but I just thought of it, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Facilities. Prime has 3 main terminals. There's one in Salt Lake City, Utah, one in Pennsylvania, and there's one in Missouri. And they're all absolutely phenomenal. They have food, free showers, they got little rooms that you can sleep in for the night if you don't want to sleep in your truck. basketball courts. In every single one, they have a basketball court and a workout room. Missouri has a chiropractor and a full medical staff in the basement. They do sleep studies and physicals and all that stuff. They're on site. And it's like a doctor's office. You wouldn't even know that you were in the terminal at Prime. I believe they have those things. They have like a hair salon, and it's all very aesthetically pleasing. You just feel at home there. Stevens Transport has one main terminal, I believe. It's in Dallas, Texas. One little driver lounge area with 2 TVs that usually have loud. They're playing loud over each other, so it's hard for you to focus on one or the other. You know, you're always jumping back and forth. They have laundry facilities that are free, but most of them are usually always broken. There's showers. There's 3 or 4 showers, I believe, at Stevens, and they're inside of like stall doors in the bathroom in the driver's lounge. The showers at Prime are in their own rooms with a door. Fresh towels, washcloths, they provide all that stuff. Stevens doesn't. Their washers and dryers do cost about 50 cents, and they sell laundry detergent and stuff there on site, but that 50 cents you're paying lasts, and they maintain all of their equipment. I don't think I've ever been to a Prime terminal where there are any washers or dryers down. And everybody that's doing laundry at Prime is very considerate of others' time, and they will do their laundry and they will sit there because it's more fun. They got pool tables and stuff. They've got like 2 or 3 different driver's lounges. There's a movie theater in Prime, Missouri, and it's connected to Apple TV, so it's got every single movie you could ever want to watch is there, and it's in a room with a projector, and you sit there and it's like theater seating. It's great. Wow, 12 minutes already. We're halfway through, I think. Tablet versus Qualcomm. Now, in the Stevens trucks, I heard they got tablets. I don't know what that's like because I was in the Qualcomm phase when I went there. We have Qualcomms here on these trucks, and I dislike them very much. I've heard the tablets are amazing. They're faster. I believe they're Samsung tablets, and they're on, you know, either 5G or 4G LTE. So they're quick in response. These Qualcomms are like hit or miss most of the time. It always takes an extended amount of time to get yourself off duty or switch over to the navigation. They're so dated, you know, so I dislike that. That's one of the only things I dislike about Prime is that our trucks have these Qualcomms, and I don't think they plan on changing them out for the tablets anytime soon. App differences. The Prime app lets you do a lot of stuff without having to actually touch the Qualcomm. You can tell you basically have to do it all through the app because there's no option to do it through the Qualcomm. So you hit arrived and you can type it out on your phone, and it's all dictated by the speed of your phone and the connection that you have to the internet with your phone. Like right now I'm out in the middle of BFE, so I don't have that great a signal. Luckily though, my 3G hotspot has great signal, and I was able to utilize that. And if I asked them, I'm sure they would give me here at this Onion plant the Wi-Fi password for the guest network so that I can do work. Lightning fast app, right? They have worked a lot on this app, and that was to segue buying tablets for 10,000 trucks. You know, Stevens only has what, 2,000, 3,000, maybe 4,000 trucks on the road right now. It's easier for them to just upgrade the tablets. Upgrade to tablets, and Prime would make it easier on us by being able to just pay someone to develop an app and maintain it, which everybody has access to as long as you have a cell phone, and who doesn't have a cell phone nowadays? Everything's very quick with that app. Now the Stevens Transport app is very hit or miss. There's a lot of HTML links that take you to outside web pages that are poorly built. It's very 1997-esque. Design. This is back when I used it, right? So it's very slow. Trying to plan out your fuel stops will add an additional 10 to 15 minutes to your idle time because you are trying to get the app to load to see where your fuel stops are at, what's paying, and things like that. So the app for Stevens is very, it's gross. And that's why I feel like maybe the tablets have subsidized that complaint that I might have had. And the app for Prime is absolutely awesome. It's great. It's no tablet, so that I mean, really, if they could just add a functionality to the phone to switch your duty status, that would be that would solve my issue. Or no, I don't need a tablet in my truck. Just give me the option to change my duty status from my phone, and that would be awesome. I know other companies do it. It's actually an option that they can pursue, but there's a reason why they didn't do it, because they thought of everything else. So I don't know what that reason is, so don't get me lying to you. Cents per mile versus line haul. Do I need to spell that out? Like, what's better? Stevens Transport gives you cents per mile. I don't even know what it's at right now. I think they raised it up 4 to 5 cents a mile, so you're at what, 45, 46 cents a mile as a company driver. You're at $1.09 a mile, $1.08 a mile, deadhead, without the fuel surcharge as a contractor. Now my buddy just started training, and right before he started training, he went contractor, and he was making checks as big as me driving solo at Prime. And now his incentives are falling off, so he's starting to only get like $2,000 to $2,500 checks, and that's not something that he wants. He wants to be able to make more money. So he's thinking about coming to Prime, because the line haul, I'll tell you right now, I'm on a load of onions right now. I'm sitting in a dock waiting for them to load me, which she said 15 minutes ago that they were going to start loading me, but they haven't started loading me yet. This guy's been here since I pulled in, but it's just me and him. So I'm getting paid $6,600 for this load. I'm taking it at 2,200 miles. 2,200 miles, I'm getting paid $6,600. If you drove 2,200 miles on Stevens cents per mile scheme, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say that fuel surcharge is high right now. You're getting like 37 cents a mile. So $1.08 and 37 cents. 15. Let's just round up. Like, I don't want to do the math right now because I'm already 16 minutes into this video. We'll do $1.65 a mile. That might be a little overshooting it. Let's say $1.40 a mile. So $1.40 a mile, do at 2,200 miles, that's maybe $3,000 that you're getting paid. But the line haul on this, for me, that I'm getting at 72% is $6,600 with the fuel surcharge. That's absolutely crazy. The difference in pay that you're missing out on to do the same exact load. If there was a Stevens driver next to me right now getting the same load as I'm getting and driving it to the same place that I'm driving, I'm gonna make more than $2,000 more to do the same work that they're doing. And I'll probably get more time back because of how the time frames work here at Prime. At Stevens, you have to do so many things, and you don't have PC, which is personal conveyance. It allows you to drive off clock, off duty, and still move the truck at highway speeds without setting your clock off. That's usually used to get you to a safe haven once you drop a load. As long as you're not under a load, you can utilize that. Stevens does not give you that. Also at Prime, you're able to do off-duty PTIs, and they only have to be about 10 to 15 minutes a day. At Stevens, you need a 3-minute PTI before you start your day, and then up to 45-minute PTI at the end of the day, and you have to do that on duty. So you're wasting about an hour of daytime to get going, and then God forbid you stop it somewhere and it takes them over 2 hours and you're able to split berth, and then your next stop takes another hour to 2 hours. Then you're cutting into your on-duty time because your off-duty time is now gone, and it's starting to cut into your drive time, and now you're out and you are stuck. And now what? You're gonna get yelled at by compliance because you're driving over the clock because you failed to plan correctly, you know? So PC helps alleviate that in certain situations, not all the time. Truck payments. Stevens is significantly lower, maxing out at, I believe, $815 a week for your trucks that are under 99,999 miles, I think, or 90,000 miles or lower. It's $815. Then it's like $760 for 100,000 to 200,000, and then 200,000, 300,000, and 300,000, 400,000. Anything over $400,000, they're going to try to bring you back to the yard, and they're going to swap you out for something else. And I think that price goes down as low as like $720 or $680 a month, or $680 a week. So the truck payments here at Prime are anywhere from, it depends on the year model, it doesn't matter how many miles are on it, anywhere from, I think it's 1,100 something up to, I think there's only really like a $20 difference between each zone. You're still paying a substantial amount of money more per week for your truck here at Prime versus Stevens. But if you look at it in the broader spectrum, in the bigger picture, the percentages don't add up. They make more sense here at Prime because you're getting paid line haul versus Stevens getting paid cents per mile. You're chasing miles. You got to drive 3,000 miles a week to get anywhere, especially if you have extra expenses and your break-even's like 1,500 miles a week. Some people only make that at Stevens at 1,500 miles a week. Some craft dedicated only get like 2,200 to 2,400. Now, don't quote me, but that's only like 1,000 miles over your break-even. So you're paying your truck note, but you're only making like $600 to $800 a week, and you're running your ass off. This load right here, if this is the only load I did, it's 2,200 miles. I would get paid $6,600 in my pocket minus fuel. So I would say probably 5,000 easy on this load, and that's lowballing it for 2,200 miles. Absolutely night and day, right? But that's even with my truck payment being, you know, I think my truck payment overall with all my expenses and everything taken out, all my deductions, it's $1,250 a week. So I can go home for 7 days and I'm not even scared to come back to work. That's if that says anything. If you work at Stevens right now and you're begging to go home and you're barely able to put $50 a week into your home time account, I put this load this load alone, I'm gonna put $1,000 into my home time account, and I'm not even gonna miss it. I'm not even gonna miss that money. I'd say 1,000 might be shooting too high. Maybe about $800 into my home time account, and that's for one trip, 2,200 miles, 1 week. Versus Stevens, where I was struggling to put $50 into my home time account, and I was in the hole for weeks after spending like 4 or 5 days at the house, after being out for 6 weeks. You know, I'm gone 4 weeks at a time here at Prime, and I'm home for a whole week, sometimes 8 to 10 days, and I come back to work, and at the first week, like I just worked a week, I got about $3,500 for my trips that I just ran, and I'm still gonna make money this week. It's not gonna be a big ass check, but it's still gonna be money. Planning at Stevens versus sales at Prime. You don't actually ever deal with sales. Some people think that it's a myth that sales even exists, because nobody gets to talk to them. Even though they claim on the Friday meetings that are live and anybody can watch because they're over YouTube, that you can call and talk to them at any time. But I don't think you're able or allowed to talk to sales, from what I've heard. It might have changed. It's been a while since I heard that. But at Stevens, you got planning, and they're always trying to screw over the young bucks, and they're taking advantage of individuals that don't have a lot of experience. And I'm about to talk about that in the next segment. They literally, they don't care. Somebody's going to get screwed at Stevens, and it's most likely going to be you if you're new, or you're young into the game. You know, I've got countless videos on my channel talking about where I got screwed by planning because they repowered me because they didn't think I was going to make a load, but really they just want to put a load on a team, and they wanted me to sit on another load. And you don't get paid at Stevens if you're sitting, because you're running cents per mile. You have to chase that cents per mile. You got to chase those miles. Here at Prime, Trucker Richie Rich just released a video saying he netted $5,300 on a 2,500 mile week. That's the potential you got working here. You run 2,500 miles at Stevens, you're going to make the same amount of money, unless the fuel surcharge changes or you spend a little too much on fuel. Work ethic at Stevens Transport versus Prime. As far as I know, at Stevens, everybody makes a base wage there, and nobody's incentivized to do their best because they're helping the drivers that are then funding their workforce. You know what I'm saying? Their workforce is not funded by the drivers there at Stevens Transport. The turnover rate is astronomical. Why? Because they're not a truck driving company. They are a school. They're a CDL school. They get their money from government grants and you paying back your loan to get your CDL. At Prime, everybody that works under you or works for you or works with you as your business partner, say your compliance people, your logs people, your payroll people, your fleet manager, they all sit together in the same area, and they all know what's going on with you at any given time. Your road assist person, they're all sitting by each other, cubicle back to back. You know, they're all in this circle together, working together, and they're all getting paid based off of the loads that your fleet manager is able to give you, which is then given to him by sales. So they're incentivized to get you rolling and get you paid, because they get paid based off of your pay. If you're not making money, they're not making money, and they'll tell you about that in the classes when you go to orientation. You are not making money, they're not making money, so they're going to keep you rolling. At Stevens, they're underpaid, they don't give a crap, they don't care, and you'll feel that, especially from planning. Planning is always, they need like personality classes for some of the people that work at Stevens, because that, or they need to start paying their employees more, because you don't feel like a person at Stevens, man. You come to Prime, if you've already worked at Stevens, you're going to feel like you got into a relationship with someone that really takes care of you. So it's night and day. I'll say that till my face is blue. Getting your CDL at Stevens Transport versus Prime. At Stevens Transport, you can get your CDL there, and a lot of people have. I did. It's going to run you probably $6,000 if you decide to leave before that year, and you're still probably going to end up paying that back, because they only pay $25 a week while you work for them. So if you think about it in a long-term thing, you need to work for them for 3 years to pay off that loan. You need to drive for Stevens Transport for 3 years before that loan is completely paid off, unless you pay off early. So what I would suggest, if you go lease, if you decide against anybody else telling you not to go lease with Stevens Transport, myself included, drive company, and you know, you'll guaranteed home time. You don't have to worry about being in the hole when you come back, and you're making probably just the same amount of freaking money after expenses as a lease operator at Stevens. At Prime, after a year, lease or company, it's forgiven. You don't have to pay anything. At Stevens, you got to also pay for the hotel. I stayed in my hotel at Prime for free. Granted, I was in orientation, and I went straight into a truck. Now, don't get me lying to you on whether or not, if you're new, that you have to pay back that, because they own the hotels. They have, like, I think there's 3 or 4, and it's all single occupancy, versus Stevens, you have to share a room with somebody, even though they're real safe about it being while you're on the yard. Everybody's got to stand 6 feet apart, even though everybody is older than dirt. They're teaching y'all, so they don't have that vocal range that they used to, you know. So they always try to get the youngest, which is still pretty old, to yell at everybody, to do roll call. So yeah, so 3 years at Stevens Transport to pay that loan off, unless you pay it off early, which I would suggest that you pay it off early. If you do lease with the incentive bonuses, try to pay that shit off early, especially if you're doing this and you don't have a family back at home and you're literally just like trying to just make a bunch of money while you're young. Pay that shit off early. But yeah, that's really pretty much it. This is a half-hour video. Wow. Was not expecting it to be this long, but this is the first video of a series of videos that I'm going to put into a new playlist about answering questions and trying to provide more information to people. So hopefully this will help. If I missed anything, I hope you guys will talk about it in the comments, and I'll include it in my next one. I'm going to start the process of writing down a list of things that I want to talk about regarding questions that I've been asked. Oh, sorry. I'm tired. I've been up since 12:30 in the morning. It is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they haven't even started loading me yet, so I guess I'll be shutting down here today, so I might as well make me some food. But I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. I've been getting a lot of questions lately, and I've gotten a lot of people asking me what, like, when they come to Prime, what to expect. And I feel like I don't have but one ear and one brain and one mouth to be able to respond to all these people. I got almost 2,200 subs right now. Not that all those people are getting with me, but it's frequent. You know, I got Snapchat, I've got Discord, and some people have my phone number, they have my email address, they also can comment on my YouTube page. And that can get overwhelming at times. So I just feel like if somebody asks me a question, be like, look, I think I answered all of it here, or maybe somebody will see it, or somebody else, if somebody asks a question, be like, hey, he has a playlist with all your answers right here. And I'll try to be as descriptive as possible in the descriptions for those videos, so that if you're looking for something specific, you can find it, and you'll know that that's the video you need to watch to be able to get your answer. So anyways, I'm going to go back here and make me something to eat. I'm pretty hungry. And I'm going to find out where the south side of the building is over here. And then we're going to see where I'm going to be parking for the night, or for the day. And then it's 47 hours to get into Arcadia, Florida from Idaho. I'm in like Pamsel, Idaho or something. Anyways, remember, just ladies, love it, hate it, ready, take care. I'll see y'all another time.